Meet Science of Mind. And here we are. I believe yes, there we go. Meet Science of Mind. And there is and the YouTube loud. There we go. All right, Zulma, this mic is all yours. Either you are muted or your volume is really low. No, it's still pretty low. Let's see. Yes, but it's a little wavery. Do you have an external mic plugged in, maybe?
Actually, on my computer, on the actual computer where the icon is for that, I'm turning it off, but it's not setting off.
It's just going in and out. It's really strange. I don't know how to describe what I'm hearing on this side, but it's not clear. I don't know how to let's see. I was just putting the YouTube to check it out.
No, it's showing on my end.
Yes.
It's showing on my end that the mic is muted, but it's not.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Perfectly?
Pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's try this again. All right. All right. A magnificent, a mystifying Monday to each and every only one of us. Thank you so much for being here today. I have to even thank me for being here today. I have no idea what's going on. A degree of tiredness that I was on hit me yesterday, and I was supposed to be at service. I was actually on schedule to do the meditation.
Zelma, we're still having trouble hearing you. I don't know what it is. And you have an internal microphone on your computer?
Yes.
Do you have like a headphone mic that you use for your phone or something that you could plug in? See if it might be your microphone on there. I'm not sure what that could be. Is there anything plugged into your computer that might be? I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Let's try this. Can you hear me better?
Speak again.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do this. All right then. I was going to go on my phone if I tap it and something else, but you can hear me better. Yes.
Yes, but if your head is right there.
All right. My head is right here. Ah, right here. Right here. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Try this again. A magnificent and a mystifying Monday to each and every one of only one of us. Only one. I was saying that it's been an interesting couple of days. Yesterday, I was supposed to, I was actually scheduled to do the meditation at service, and I woke up early enough to send the peace, okay, the first Sunday of the month, we call it Peace Sunday, I sent the peace quotes to the person who was doing the reading for them, and I went back to sleep, and I woke up at 10:47, and service started at 11 o'clock. There was no way to do that. Fortunately, I am moderator for the two for our Sunday services. So while the service is going on in the lesson, I am taking notes. So I had a chance to be there that way, but I was supposed to physically be there, and I wasn't. And so it is. Tired. Went back to sleep, and actually I woke up yesterday morning because Lovable woke me up. We decided it was time to go out and stop doing it. So I slept as much as I could, and he took over the rest of my day. However, it is a marvelous day. It is a magnificent day, majestic day. It is March 4th. We then mentioned March 4th. It happens to be what we have been the birthday of a sister that I never had the opportunity to meet. Find her photograph and put it on the screen because I want to share if I can. Um, strange things are happening on my computer. Very strange things are happening on my computer because I don't see the thread there I posted. Okay, here we go. Next thing. Let's copy it. It just became a moment when I remembered, as Lynn said, for the specific. So I'm going to finish it quickly. Really familiar. These are two words from the airfield. This is my sister Elvira, which in English would be like Eugenia. Her middle name was Argentina Gonzalez. She was born on March 4th, 1942, and she made her transition May 12th, 1985. I never got a chance to meet her because she was and my father died. So I didn't get to meet a lot of my siblings. I met a lot while he was alive, and I didn't get to meet a lot. And over the years, I've actually met more siblings and nieces and nephews. And I'm having a ball with this meeting family that I never knew I had. Wonderful people, outstanding people. Glad to say that came to family of darn good stuff. And yeah. Her son, one of her sons, it's her twins. One of them lives in Queens. It's to see him Tuesday in New York. But okay, March 4th. March 4th. Les Brown has a story about March 4th as well. But I'm not going to tell it. You want to know? You have to go find Les Brown and his story about Mr. Washington, who was his mentor. Well, all right, here we go. Here we go. Let me go back to sharing the screen. Good morning, Michaela.
Good morning, Zulma. Nice to be here in your class. Is it possible for you to make your sound a little higher for me? Thank you.
That's what I'm told. I'm not being heard well. Is this any better? I have to sit right in front of the screen. Is this better?
Not really. I'm sorry. You sounded better last week to me. Thank you.
Something. My microphone on my computer has it's showing that it's muted, but it's not. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but it's not as loud. The decimals aren't as loud as it normally is. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Nothing I can do about it. And I'm pushing buttons now Any louder, any better?
Yes, that's better.
Oh, good. All right. I'm just going to talk loud. Oh, shucks. I'm going to yell, and my dog is going to be upset with you all.
Yeah, I think if
Yeah,
you direct right at the because yeah, it's garbled. You'll see when you watch the YouTube, and I've been watching on YouTube. It sounds even a little better on YouTube. I'm not sure why, but I'm not sure. It's kind of I really want to hear what you're saying, and especially you were showing a photo of someone and talking about them. I really didn't understand what you were talking about or what you were saying. So
oh,
uh,
that's my sister. Today would have been her birthday.
oh my
She was born,
goodness.
she was born March 4th, 1943, made her transition May 12th, 1985.
Uh,
See, I was the baby girl, so, you know, but this was my sister Eugenia, which in English I guess would be Eugenia, spelled Eugenia, Albertina Gonzalez. Mm. I met her son, actually I met her twin sons during the pandemic. And her daughter, my niece, she and I have been in contact regularly. She lives in Virginia. I went to see her. I've been to see her a couple of times already. My nephew, one lives in Queens, the other one moved to Florida, and I've just had a chance to just meet family and just meet family, and I'm loving it. Can you all hear me? Okay.
it's still going. I mean, I can understand what you're saying. Excuse me. And I recognize this because I'm like listen very closely
Would you like me to
and
sign
fill
out
in
and
the
come back?
gaps. Maybe, yeah, try that. Try going out and coming back in.
It'll take a little
Uh,
bit because I have to
yeah, do that
save
really quickly.
I have to save a few things here as I go. Oh, go out of Zoom and come back in. I'll try that.
Yeah, go out of
Actually,
Zoom and come back in. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's the computer, but okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you, McKaylee, for saying something. I was just hoping that it was my computer or my sound that was not good and that it would get better as it went along. But like I said, I'm really used to listening very closely to and filling in the gaps. uh, so uh, maybe a little too much. But I really want to hear what Zulma is going to talk about. So it's really um, important to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to uh, make themselves heard here. So while we're waiting for Zulma to come back, I was telling her earlier, I had like, for some reason, it clicked for me last night. I was sitting here listening to some of our, just Gather recordings that I had playing on Gather, and and it just, you know, it, there's one thing about, saying I'm here, I'm the light of the world. Actually, I was looking at today's lesson, and oh, by the way, can you guys hear me okay? That's a good question.
Yes, I can hear you, Lynn. This is
Okay.
McKaylee. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay, there's Zelma back. Okay. All righty, Ms. Zelma, unmute yourself and let us see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's still very low. Do you have a way to turn your volume up? Over in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little speaker thing. And if you right click on that, it comes up with a thing that says open volume mixer. And if you look at the volume mixer, see what the setting is for
It's at 100. Oh, wait a minute.
100.
Wait, no, wait a
Okay.
minute. Wait a minute. On Zoom, it only says one and it's grayed out.
Okay.
That's
Well,
how,
that sounded better just now, but so your Zoom is, and it's grayed out. Can you click on the little speaker at the bottom of the Zoom?
I'm trying. Nothing's happening.
Okay. Uh,
I wonder why that is. I've never had this.
Yeah, I'm confused myself since I don't
I'll
really.
just talk loud. I'll talk really loud.
Okay. All righty.
Okay. I'll talk loud. Just yell at you all. Let me know if I'm talking too loud. Oh my God. I hear
Oh,
Great.
myself talk. I'm yelling, but it's okay.
you
I'll
better
figure
get
this out.
something to drink. So okay. Well, I will mute my mic then and let you continue. And oh, I got to
Uh,
make you co-host again.
okay. I will just talk loud. I'll just talk very loud. Bear with me, family. And listen to this. If I start not talking loud enough, oh God, I can't even do myself. I can't imagine saying that. If I start talking not loud enough, please let me know. I'm sitting right in front of the mic, right in front of the, this is funny. All right, anyway, um, Regis and Karen and Michaela and Lynn are here in the room with me. Thank you, family. Thank you, family. Thank you, family. In the Zoom room, let's see what's going on. I see Carrie and Idelos. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Idelos. What's going on? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Thank you. So, as always, I'm just trying to share my screen. Work on this. We are reminded always to mind our mind, basically mind your business, but to learn how to live, rather, to learn how, she's right, I need something to drink. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. Dr. Ernest Holmes from page 123 of the Science of Mind textbook, the definitive edition. You should decide to purchase it. The course reminds us that this is a course in mind training, that all learning involves attention and study at some level, and that an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And Dr. Holmes reminds us that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Since it is impossible to stop thinking, we cannot stop creating. Our choice is whether we shall create constructively or destructively. I wonder why this is happening. Okay, I'm still looking at the microphone here. The actual microphone on the computer is showing that it is muted. So I'm yelling above and beyond, but it's showing that it's muted. I will keep doing what I'm doing though. Again, let me know if you can't hear me. So we on what is today? On Thursday. On Thursday, we started talking about fear. And I'm going to be with this for a little bit because there's so much that the course and all of the mental sciences have to say about it, because it's the one thing that keeps us in bondage, because fear shows up in so many different ways, according to the ego's thought system, in so many different ways. In fact, in one of the readings I read about from Dr. Ernest Holmes, he said that fear shows up in 101 ways. And I thought, well, no, actually it's just one, but ultimately that's what he's saying. But we come up with all these different forms of fear, not realizing ultimately that the only real fear is that we think that we are separate from our creator, that we are separate from life, that we are separate from God. And that is absolutely impossible. Right now, I'm looking at miracle principles number 26 and 28. Miracles represent freedom from fear. Miracles represent freedom from fear. Atoning means undoing. The undoing of fear is an essential part of the atonement value of miracles. And we're reminded that what we are to do is to accept the atonement for ourselves, that we are to accept that seeing things the way we do is not the way seeing it the way we see it with this physical eye is not really what it is, and to be willing to release what we've learned so that we can see things differently. To atone is to undo the way we think now so that we can learn to see it differently. Miracle principle number 28 states that miracles are a way of earning release from fear, and that revelation induces a state in which fear has already been abolished. And the reason for that is that when we're in a moment of revelation, we're in a holy instant. We're in an instant. We're in the present. We're in the moment. There's no reason to fear in the moment. If we're focused on the fact, if we recognize the fact that fear is based on something from the past or something from the future, neither of which are here right now in truth. From the book Living Without Fear, Dr. Ernest Holmes writes that no one imposes fear upon us. Rather, we create it for ourselves in our own thoughts and emotions. What we need to realize is that we have just as much freedom to eliminate fear as we have in creating it. And that for me is, wow. That for me is, we have just as much freedom to eliminate fear as we have in creating it. Anybody want to talk about that? Bring this down for a bit. We have just as much freedom to eliminate it as we do to create it. Yes, Michaela.
Well, I would say that it's to remain at peace. That's your responsibility. When you remain at peace, you're actually, then you can't be in fear. So you can just observe it, like a procession walking by, or like the emperor that had no clothes, you observe. He walked by and the procession with them. Thank you.
I like that. I like it. And we have to start from the place of realizing that we are the peace. Workbook lesson review 1, right after lesson 50, reminds us that peace is what we are. It's part of what we are, and it's with us all the time. In the Bible, it asks, it teaches to hold our peace. It doesn't say find our peace. It says hold our peace. We are the peace. We have the peace. We are that. And as we start to realize what we are, what I'm not calling the I am that I am. I am. And that I am. And the I am is all there is. I am one with all of it. It is one with all of me. There is no separation. And the belief in that is where that fear arises. No one imposes fear upon us. We want to blame something outside of ourselves for what we feel. We want to blame someone outside of us for what we think. It's impossible for me to tell you, to make you think anything. It is impossible for me to make you feel anything. Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen again. I just realized I'm not. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Yes, no one imposes fear on us. It's not possible. It is absolutely not possible. The Course in Miracles, the workbook lessons, there are 9 workbook lessons that contain the word fear. Actually, there's 10, but the other one didn't apply. So anyway, a meaningless world engenders fear. And we know that God didn't create, there is no such thing as a meaningless world. There's no such thing as a meaningless world. And the reason, the fear that we're choosing is based on, as I said before, the past or the future, both of which are meaningless because they are not real. They are not now. Now is the only aspect of time that has meaning. Now. So a meaningless world engenders fear. And that doesn't come up again until workbook lesson 160. That was workbook lesson 13. In 160, it says, I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. I am at home. I am in peace. I am in love. I am in God. Fear is the stranger here. It's not real. We're making it up. We think that if this, then that. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And oh my God, look at what happened. And oh, this is terrible. This is awful. I'm afraid. of what's next? What if? Yes, Michaela.
Oh, I just want to say that I love how you're talking about fear. This is so beautiful, and to stay at peace, because uh, Spirit brought something to my attention. I thought people were in my attic at one time walking around, and it wasn't until months later I was out walking my dog, and a man came up to tell me that the fruit trees outside, that you have to keep them trimmed, which I do, but these actual rats get in your attic. And so I knew months later that my fear that someone was in my attic was not a human. It was a it was a it was a rat. And so I then called the, appropriate exterminators. But I had construed through fear a whole scenario, and went into fear that somebody was, breaking into my home, and they were not. It was my fear. And I didn't find the truth about it till months later. So yeah.
Great imagination we have. We are so creative. We were created to create. Dr. Ernest says we were created to create. If we are created in the image of our creator, then we are created to create. And we're constantly coming up with stuff. But there's the creation that is permanent, but then there's the stuff that we create that we, of course, calls it the stuff that we make. It's temporary. And fortunately, Michaela, in this case, it was temporary. Fortunately, listen to this. It was only a rat. Fortunately, it wasn't someone, living in your house, squattering in your home, ready to take it over. One day you're going to look up and you're sleeping, you're going to cut your throat. I mean, you had the whole story, I'm sure. Karen, yes, love. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. First of all, Zulma, thank you for your beautiful text this morning. And Michaela, thank you for your phone call. I am so appreciative. Ordinary angels, you guys are ordinary angels. So I wrote in the chat that the first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first that the conflict is an expression of fear. So, and that's because we've forgotten love, and he tells us that. He says say to yourself that you must somehow have chosen not to love, or the fear could not have arisen. So it's always about that choice. And the course is so simple. It tells us that the way out of conflict between two thought systems is to choose one. You choose the Holy Spirit. That's the way out of conflict. But I was talking to Michaela earlier, and I'm so grateful that she called, because I'm reminded all the time that I have to look at the fear. I have to look at the fear until I can get to the love. I have to look at what's going on with me right now, which is another physical thing. I just screwed my knee up. My knee's swelling up like a balloon. I'm planning surgery, and it's now interfering with this. I'm making the story up that it's going to interfere with the surgery. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what anything is for, but I know one thing, and that I hate what's happening right now. I hate it. And I have to look at that hate, which I'm looking at this hate right now before I can get to the love, because right now I don't like it. Right now, it's increasing my pain, and it's making me more stressed out. And I know I have mind control and all that other stuff, but right now, screw it all. That's how I feel. And I'm being completely honest. I have to get through this, look at it with Holy Spirit, look at this hate to get to love. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. I'm trying to copy paste from the chat onto the into the slide. On here. I don't know if that's if that I don't think it's, but
I can barely hear you, Zulma.
Zumi, gotta talk
okay.
louder.
All right, I forgot I have to talk loud. I forgot I have to yell. This is crazy. Believe me, I'm going to find out what this is about as soon as we get off of here. As soon as we get off here, I am going to, because like I said, the microphone is on my computer, that is lit as if the computer's not working, and for some reason that only seems to be applying to Zoom. I don't know why. I'll find out. I'll figure it all out somehow, someday, somewhere. All right. But yeah, yes, we have to look at the problem, what we perceive to be a problem, before we can begin to solve it. We have to. We don't know what anything is for. We don't know ultimately what this is. Who knows? Well, nope, because I was going to give up my version of the story. Nope. We don't know. We don't know. But we take one step at a time. We take one step at a time. We start first by choosing to trust. We start first by remembering that no matter what, we are the peace. No matter what, we are the peace. And begin to tell ourselves those things over and over and over again. Begin to tell ourselves the truth of what we are, the truth of what we are. We can't think two thoughts at once. And even though our bodies experience, in this case, Karen, is experiencing physical pain, the truth of what we are is still spirit, still one, still truth, still God in form, still that, still not our bodies, even though in this form that is given to us, for whatever the reason, we've chosen to express it the way we are expressing it. But being aware of that, being aware of our part in it, well, at the very least, I would trust, would ease what we're calling hatred right now. Because hatred is a form of grief and grievance and brings on more pain in itself. And that's what just came to me to say. I wouldn't have normally said that publicly, Karen, but you brought it up. So that word hate, is a big one for me, was a big one for me. And it was willing myself to, learning how to, learning through spirit to release hatred that helped me release pain. I'm not talking about physical pain. Your situation is a whole different situation from what I'm talking about. But that's extra feeling that's on top of the physical stuff. That's extra feeling. So I'm trusting that at the least, you feel better from an emotional perspective. Yes, my love. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I love that you said trust, and I agree 100%. I have to trust, and I do trust, and I trust that all things do work together for good, except in the ego's judgment. I do trust that. But I also, me personally, have to be honest with myself, and I don't sugarcoat anything, and I don't hide anything. So right now, I am feeling that hatred right now, and I have to look at that hatred. It's strong. And I have to look at that to heal it. So it is a strong word. And I know what you're saying. And I agree with it. But I do feel that right now. And I know that I will get past it because I'm looking at it with Holy Spirit. The other thing I just want to mention, Dove told me to look at lesson 250, which I looked at, which is let me not see myself as limited. Lesson 250. Let me not see myself as limited. And that goes exactly with what you're saying. Remember, the truth of who I am cannot be hurt, can't suffer. So it's getting back to the truth. Only truth is true and nothing else is true. And thank you for those reminders. And trust is the biggest thing right now for me. And I'm so grateful to hear that and be reminded. So thank you.
Right now. Let me behold the Son of God today and witness to his glory. Let me not try to obscure the holy light in him and see his strength diminished and reduced to frailty, nor perceive the lacks in him with which I would attack his sovereignty. I'm going to reword that a little bit. Let me behold myself today and witness to my glory. Let me not try to obscure the holy light in me and see my strength diminished and reduced to frailty, nor perceive the lacks in myself with which I would attack my sovereignty. I am your creation, my Father, and today I would behold my gentleness instead of my illusions. I am what you are, and as I see myself, as I see you, so do I see myself. Today, I would see truly that this day I may at last identify with you. God can't suffer. I am what God is. I can hurt. Oh, in this body, I can hurt. Oh, God, in this body, I can hurt. But I can't suffer. And grievances, holding grievances hides the light. Hides the light. But I'm not here to preach. That's not what I'm here to do. Karen, I saw your hand. Go ahead, love.
I was going to write it in the chat. I meant to write it in the chat, but the ego sees grievances as that's the ego's plan for salvation. And grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So as long as I'm holding a grievance, whether it's against my body or anything else, I am attacking God. I am attacking myself. And it's definitely it's denying the truth of who I am. I have forgot all attack is self-attack, and it stems from the decision not to be what you are. So getting back to remembering who I am, returning to love, returning the mind to the truth, knowing that only truth is true. It's just a simple mantra. Only truth is true and nothing else is true. And getting past the thoughts that aren't real because they're not true. And I know they're not true. And I'm so grateful because I'm starting to feel that light. I see the light coming. Thank you.
I'm glad you said it and not wrote it. Because getting the words out, getting it out, because right now it's going round and round and without adult supervision. Um, without adult supervision, telling ourselves over and over again, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and we don't realize it, and then we splurt it out, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and we're not realizing that we are creating our reality even more. We're adding fuel to the fire. We're adding fuel to the fire. So these very words that you just expressed are the ones that over and over and over again you want to tell yourself until your head gets it to your heart. Until your head gets it to you. Let your head get it to your heart. Because we know this stuff intellectually, we have to let that get to our heart. That we're not choosing to let the ego, we're not choosing the ego thought system, we're choosing the Holy Spirit thought system. That regardless of, as Karen G says, I'm going to be all right even if. I'm okay even if. I'm going to choose love even if. I'm going to release the grievance even if. I'm going to feel good about this. I'm going to be in gratitude even if. That's cute. That's cute. Otherwise, we stay in fear. And I understand. I understand from a physical perspective why. Listen, not that particular situation, but I think I've had the physical experiences as well. I'm like, oh my God, what now? What if? The first thing, what if? And what if? I went into hypothetics. I can't speak for what you're doing. I went into hypothetics and worried about what if. What if this can't happen? And what if that can't happen? But workbook lesson 250, I think, is perfect. And for me, rewording it to make it more personal as opposed to he and the him and all that. No, me. This is about me. And it's okay to reword it because I'm not publishing it and copywriting it. So I can reword it to identify it with me, to make it about me. And it's all about me anyway, isn't it? Is it all about who the me we think we are is? All right. I am going back to my screen. What's it? Oh, here's good. Here we go. And I'm going right back to where Karen, what she said, that first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first the conflict is an expression of fear. It's fear. And I will, as the days go on, we'll be pulling passages from the course to augment these workbook lessons and the miracle principle too, and Dr. Holmes too. I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. Fear is not justified in any form. It is false evaluation affecting reality, FEAR. That was my friend Kim Williams. False evaluation affecting reality. And it is causing grief and pain. False evaluation affecting reality. Today belongs to love. Today belongs to love. Today belongs to God. Today belongs to life. Today belongs to truth. Today belongs to spirit. Today belongs to the essence of what I am. Therefore, let me not mask it. Let me not block it. Let me not fear. Let me not fear. Let me not block all this good stuff with all that stuff, with the truth. Let me not block the truth with the stuff I am making it. Let me not block. Today belongs to love. Let me not fear. I'm looking for a workbook lesson. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. Hope that the words that I want are actually in this lesson. For whatever reason, it's coming to me. Workbook lesson 236. I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. Let me not fear. I'm not reading the lesson, but that just came to me from 235, my brother's lesson. Father, your holiness is mine. Your wholeness is mine. Your wholeness is mine. Your love created me and made my sinlessness, my faultlessness, my guiltlessness, made it forever part of you. Your wholeness, Father, is mine. I need but look upon all things that seem to hurt me, and with perfect certainty assure myself God wills that I be saved from this. This is workbook lesson 235, my brother's lesson. My brother Regis's lesson. That I be saved from this. And then watch him disappear, because you can't think two thoughts at once. I'm trusting. Workbook lesson 293 says that all fear is past and only love is here. All fear is past and only love is here. I will not fear to look within today. Workbook lesson 309. I will not fear to look within today. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. Of course, we know there's no such thing as sacrifice. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. I'm willing to let that go. I'm willing to give that up for what I really want. And I want peace, and I want love, and I want joy, and I want truth, and I want happiness, and I want God. I want God. I want God. I want the Holy Spirit. I want love. I want love. I want love. I want peace. I want peace. I want peace. So I will sacrifice the fear for all of that. Because fear binds the world. Fear binds me. Fear binds the world. Fear binds me. Forgiveness sets it free. Forgiveness, release, 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 and let go. Let the Spirit run your life. Release and let go. And finally, from the workbook lessons, I have no cause for anger or for fear. For you, Father, surround me. And in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. I've got what I need. Everything I need, I already am. Everything I need, I already am. And what I don't need is to be in fear. What I don't need is to be in emotional pain. What I don't need is to think that something outside of me is greater than what is in me. It's written in the Bible, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Greater is that spirit that rules my life than that energy outside. That's none of my business. If it's outside of me, it's not my business. It's not my business. Two kinds of business, my business and none of my business. Yeah, Karen.
I wanted to wait till you were done reading them because I didn't want you to go to the next section you were going to go to before I mentioned how much I love lesson 323, that I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. And, this lesson has so much in it. And it kind of reminds me of what Byron Katie says, like, who would I be without my story? That's where the fear comes in. And then like Ken Wapnick says, who would I be without my ego? Who would I be, without me, the little me, Karen? Who would I be? So there's this one non-duality teacher that I sometimes just read about. I don't really buy his books or anything, but I read some of his quotes. His name is Eric Putkonen, Putkonen. And I love what he wrote here. It just reminded me of this lesson. He said, fear is a side effect of believing you are a me. He has me in quotes, and identified with the body and or mind. And I think what he means there is with your thoughts when he says it's a little mind, not the big mind. The me is the root of all fear. The me is the root of all suffering. So it's this body, this being identified with this body and being afraid to let this idea of this body as a truth of who I am, which is the lie, that's for me the greatest. I gladly make that sacrifice of fear, because once I can let that go and let that identity go, uh, it's nothing. You see that it's nothing. And it's this meaning that I'm putting on it and these beliefs that aren't true. So this lesson, I mean, I just really love this lesson. And another course friend once, I was talking to her about my fears, and she said, what are you afraid of? Like, what are you afraid of? Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And then say, well, why are you afraid of that? And then, why are you afraid of that? And keep saying, why are you afraid of that? The next thing, why are you afraid? Keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until you just see it's nothing. You just get to where it's actually, you're making it up and it's nothing. So she had me keep going deeper, deeper, deeper. And it really helped me see that none of it was true. It was everything that I believed about me, small me. And I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. So I just wanted to mention how much I love that lesson. And I'm grateful that you brought it up, because it helps me to really let go of the identity of who would I be? I would be happy. I would be at peace. I would be without fear. I would be trusting more. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. That just brings one of my favorite passages from the course, that every response we make is determined by what we think we are. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. And what you want to be must determine every response you make. I left out the middle part, but what you want to think, what you think you are is what you want to be. I mean, what you think, what you know, what you want to be is what you think you are, because you're thinking in the present. It's happening in the. So what you want to be must determine Every response. Every response. All right. I finished reading the workbook lessons in 10 minutes to spare. I'm going to a passage from Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes. The law, which is the law of God. We've read about that law. There are no laws but God's. That law, having no purpose of its own, having no intention of its own about us, is compelled to take the color of our dominant thought, and create after that pattern. Our dominant thought. What are you thinking? What does it say? Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. What you want to be is what you think you are. So the law, having no purpose of its own, having no intention of its own about us, is compelled to take the color of our dominant thought and create after that pattern. We, being persons, can change our thoughts and thereby remold our conditions. We call that the atonement. We call it undoing, undoing, undoing. Indeed, this is the great realization of freedom. And to understand this is to understand how we may become released from bondage. Not to understand this compels us to remain in bondage until enlightenment comes. Simple as that. We can change our thoughts. We can change our thoughts. But we forget that in the moment when we're looking and we're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching something, anything, the tangible stuff. It's our thoughts that we can't see, the metaphysical. No, we get caught all up in the physical. What's that workbook lesson? That miracle principle that says something about that the miracle shifting from the invisible, from the visible to the invisible. That's the goal, to shift from the visible to the invisible. Yes, Michaela, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Zulma. This is so beautiful. I just have a short little reading I want to do, and it pertains because of, Karen and what you're talking about, and, the pain on the physical level. And yeah, within this hierarchy, it is true. And, today's lesson in a course, lesson 64, let me not forget my function. And there's something that Ken says. So he says, it is evident by the way that Jesus is not asking us to deny the world or our bodies. So he's not asking us to deny the world or our bodies. He is simply saying, bring your experiences to me so I can teach you to look at them differently. So that's where Karen said earlier, he's saying right here, Jesus is saying to look at them, to bring it to him. Let me and not your ego be your guide as you go through life, for I will help you undo the barriers that kept you from my love. These barriers are never anything external, having to do only with which teacher we choose to instruct us and with which attitude we pursue our lives. Thank you.
Love that. Does that say where in the course that is? Michaela?
Sorry, what I just read you is actually from Ken's book, the volume 2, lessons 61 through 90, journey through the workbook of A Course in Miracles. And it's on page 11 for the lesson today, on page 11.
Page 11. All right, I'll look that up after. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. What I wanted to, all of 5 minutes. Unless somebody else has- I am going to you ought to help them figure it out. I saw you, but you ought to help them figure this out, how to go from in Zoom to go from one thing right to something else. Because we this back, come down, come out. Okay, here we go. This is from the book by Dr. Ernest Holmes called Living in Fear, and it's just the introduction. We spend most of our lives trying to avoid what we do not like and seeking to experience more of those things that bring us pleasure, happiness, and well-being. However, in doing this, we find ourselves in an almost continual state of fear in one or more of its many forms. We fear what we do not like and also fear we will not have what we do like. Worry, crisis, and anxiety seem to plague most people, often to the extent that life is something to be suffered through rather than to be lived with joy. This does not mean that we shall ever be free of all problems, but rather that life and living present a continual challenge, which we should learn to master instead of allowing it to master us. This is what I just read. No one imposes fear upon us. Rather, we create it for ourselves in our own thoughts and emotions. What we need to realize is that we have just as much freedom to eliminate fear as we have in creating it. That there is an obvious need to secure our freedom from our self-created and self-imposed fears is found in those sciences which deal with the mind and the body. Any evidence of fear in our thought, whether it be large or small, can have subtle and far-reaching consequences. Unless properly handled, the entire process of thought can become unbalanced and misdirected. Similarly, fear seems to be able to affect the function and structure of almost every part of the body. Two questions immediately arise. To what extent can we afford to let ourselves become subject to the destructive thoughts of fear, which we have established for ourselves? What can we do to free ourselves from them and replace them with other thoughts and ideas which will contribute to our welfare? The escape from fear does not involve a retreat from living, but it does mean that our reactions to experiences should not be allowed to overwhelm us, but should lead to constructive action. This implies that there should be a renewing of the mind so that its reactions to life are not negative. This implies that there should be a renewing of the mind so that its reactions to life are not negative. And that a watch should be maintained on our processes of thought, which the Course says is, being too tolerant of mind wandering, that we need to guard our thoughts. A watch should be maintained on our processes of thought so that they are maintained on a positive, constructive, creative level. If a person seeks to free himself from limitations which his fears have imposed upon him, it will be necessary for him to free himself from those ideas which have nourished and kept the fears alive to reap their damage. I'm going to stop right here simply because it's 11 o'clock. And I trust that you all will, I'm going to figure out what's going on with this computer, that you all will join me again on Thursday as we continue with our discussions, our conversations about fear, and using a Course in Miracles and Science of Mind to and other mental sciences to help us bring these more to life. Yes. Thank you, family. I love you. I love you. I love you. And remember, of course, that there's only one of us.
Love you,
Thank
love you. Thank you, Zulma.
Thank you so
Amen.
much, Zelma. Thanks
Thank you so
everybody who stepped up to help out. And and Reed just has a good idea, restart the computer. You can do that after this, and maybe we'll get back with you later because we do have other meetings today. So anyway, thank you so much, Zulma Gonzalez. And I'm going to go ahead and end this.